Yo, what's going on, guys? Hope you're having a fantastic day and start to your Season 8 in Rocket League. Let me know where you're all at. I got placed in Champ 1, and just this morning I hit Champ 2, so I'm really feeling good this season. I think it possibly could be the season I hit Grand Champ and become a Grand Champ player, but we'll see. Today's video is going to be on a skill I've been practicing a ton the past week or two that prior to that I never really attempted to do, I don't think ever. I think the reason for that is this isn't necessarily a super game-changing skill. I think most situations I go for this, I could just do a normal flick and get the same result. But yeah, so what I'm talking about is the 180 flick, which I'm sure you already knew that from the title. But I think there are maybe some certain situations where this does actually have an upside. Sometimes I feel it's easier to aim for some reason when I do the 180 spin and then backflip flick it instead of doing a normal front flip flick. And on top of that, I think opponents hesitate a lot more when you're spinning under the ball, at least less experienced players. Some people might just assume you messed up and just freeze up and not really be ready for the flick that comes after the 180 spin, which can make this sort of a lethal tool to have. Although, I won't lie, I think the best part about the skill is just how flashy it is and how good you feel when you hit a good shot with it and get those nice shots even from the opponent, just because it's honestly a really impressive looking shot. But really, it's not that hard to pull off, and I know going into it for the first time it might seem a little overwhelming, especially if you're not too comfortable with dribbling, but hopefully this video will help ease it up a little bit. So anyways, let's get right into it. So firstly, here are my camera settings because I get asked for them almost every video, so yeah, feel free to try them for yourself if you're someone who likes how they look. The good thing about the 180 flick is that you don't need any training pack to practice them. All you gotta do is jump into a free mode training and dribble up from where the ball gets placed at half and shoot your shot, which I will be going deeper into the mechanics of the whole motion of getting the ball on top of your car, jumping, spinning, and finally flicking throughout this video. But first, I just want to mention that this skill is sort of tough when you're trying it for the first time, so don't be discouraged. I've screwed it up in competitive games so many times, but once you get the feel for it, it becomes just like anything else in Rocket League that you're comfortable with, where you're just going through the motion. But over the course of the last 2 weeks, I've kind of gone from not ever having tried it before ever in Rocket League to now I feel like I can do it pretty consistently and not mess it up. So all you gotta do is keep at it, keep trying, and you'll get there. So I think speed and having steady control of the ball are two things to focus on when going for a 180 flick. When you're stationary, obviously your flick won't have as much power, so I find that the best times to go for these are when you're in transition from defense to offense and have a little bit of space to operate in, and are able to get good control of the ball on top of your car. Which, if you're not too good at dribbling with the ball on top of your car, you will probably have a very hard time with doing 180 flicks until you get that skill down, so you may want to work on that first. But very quickly, to get the ball on top of my car, I typically will just do a quick cut into the side of it, and that will cause the ball to roll up on top of my car, and it's almost like you're jabbing a spatula under a burger on the grill if you've ever hosted a barbecue. You just gotta kind of just cut under it quickly to get underneath it. If you go too slow, instead of getting underneath it, you'll just push it instead of scooping it up on top of your car. So once you have the ball on top of your car, in a position where you have enough space to not get stuffed, your next step is obviously to jump, which for me was the hardest part about learning the 180 flick. It was jumping without launching the ball away. I found that every time I was jumping with the ball on top of my car, I was just kicking the ball too high up and losing control of it, just hitting it away from my car. This really comes down to just getting a feel for it, and then it becomes much easier once you practice and get used to jumping with the ball. One thing that I noticed helped with this was sort of providing a little bit of give as you jump, dipping your nose down so that you don't apply as much force on the ball with your jump. It sort of elevates it with your car, but doesn't spring it up as if you were trying to bounce it up for a pass or say to get it over a defender. So while you're in the air, you want to spin about 180 degrees. It doesn't really matter whether you spin left or right because either way you're aiming to go the full 180 degrees, although sometimes it is better to go left or right if you're not sure you'll be able to complete the full 180, so that if you say only complete about 45 degrees, you can still get a shot on net. Remember that you have a solid window of, I think it's like 1.5 seconds or just under 2 seconds or somewhere around there before you lose your flick, so you don't have to rush yourself. It's better to focus on getting a good jump and aiming well so that you can get an impactful shot rather than just fork up possession to the other team. Anyways, that is really all there is to it. Once you finish your air rotation, you just pull back and use your double jump to let her fly. So yeah, let me know if you guys have any skills or concepts that you would like me to try to make a tutorial for, and if you enjoyed this video, a like would be much appreciated. And as always guys, have a great night and I'll see you next video.